Melanie, welcome, and thank you again for spending some time with us. I know this has been almost a year and a half of us doing these recordings.
So nice to see you and the Italtile team again.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. We've covered a lot of topics over the past couple of months. It's always been exciting. It's always been on trend, but something that's come up quite often in the past few weeks, and I know that we've actually initiated a training session, course with our staff through chapters, which we found immensely interesting, is the biophilic design. And what's quite exciting is that now we see it popping up everywhere. So today's session is about the biophilic design, and I'm hoping that you can unpack that for us, and that we can have a better understanding at the end of the session exactly how we can fit it in our homes, in our offices, and it's also assisting people within the interior design to sell this. So can you unpack biophilic design for us?
So when I got your request to have a chat to you about biophilics, it really warms the cockles of my heart. Because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Biophilic translates directly from Latin, and it means the love of life or living systems. And it's actually the practice of creating a closer connection to nature through the way that interiors, buildings, architecture, or landscapes are created and built. So biophilic design looks at how we as humans, we instinctively respond to shapes and sounds and textures that we see in nature, and how we can incorporate those things into our architecture and interiors, whether it be a showroom such as yourselves, a commercial project your guys might be working on, or our home offices that we all working on at the moment. And studies have shown that biophilic design, when it's incorporated from a very micro level to a macro level, it improves mood, it improves physical and mental health, as well as your cognitive function.
Biophilic design, is that something new and recent, or has this been something that's been around forever and we just never knew about it?
So it's been around forever, because when we were back in our caveman days, we lived in a very biophilic way. So we were surrounded by nature, we were surrounded by natural elements, we were able to look across the expanse of the plains. What happened is, fast forward many millennia and generations, by sort of 2007, the majority of human beings, we've become urban dwellers, and we spend up to 90% of our time indoors. And what's happened as a result of that kind of urbanization is it's brought along higher levels of stress, crime, depression, and lower levels of productivity and learning. And we really bearing the fruit as a global species. I mean, every country that you look at around the world at the moment is under some form of stress, crime, depression. And that's as a result of, one of the causes is urbanization. So biophilic design, it was actually a term popularized by an American biologist, Edward O. Wilson, in the 1980s. But biophilic design in its essence has been around for millennia. And it's only in the last sort of 50 years that we started to do studies on it that are starting to show the, like I said, psychological, physiological, and cognitive benefits of it, as well as the economic benefits of it, is starting to pop out now. So it's not new, it's always been there. We're just starting to realize how important it is.
And if you're looking at introducing this into your own home, is this something that we can do cost effectively, or are you looking at a large sum of spend to bring this into your home?
So one of the things about sustainability as an umbrella term, or as a broad industry, is a lot of people, particularly if you're retrofitting or trying to create a green building or make it more sustainable, is the cost factor and also the overwhelmedness of having to go fully sustainable. You can go all the way from changing your light bulbs to black water systems or grey water systems in your buildings. So a lot of people are very intimidated or overwhelmed by sustainability as a broader topic. And one of the pockets of sustainability, sort of a feeder into sustainability, is biophilic design. This awareness of nature and bringing it back into our spaces. And the reason it's gaining such traction in terms of growth and a trend, and it's popping up everywhere that you see, it's much more accessible and cost effectively implemented than full-blown sustainability. So it doesn't have to be a very expensive project.
Thank you. And I just wanted to find out, so if we are looking at introducing this in your home, for example, could there be one area within your home that we can introduce this in? So you could, for example, you know, a lot of us are working from home due to this, well, still COVID, but this last wave that we're still currently going through, and a lot more people are working from home. Is it possible just to create a certain area, a workspace, or office, you know, in your home that's dedicated to the biophilic? Or do you suggest doing little bits in different areas within your home?
So this sort of leads on from your last question about whether it's costly or not to do. So absolutely, you can start in one space, and it's very, very simple and easy to do when you realize how biophilic design is structured. So biophilic design is broken down into three categories: nature of the space, nature in the space, and something called natural analogues. And within those three categories, they've got something called 14 patterns. So it's 14 different things to consider when you are looking at incorporating biophilic design, all the way from your small reception or home office all the way to a massive commercial project. And it's as simple as things like making sure you've got a visual connection with nature. So I've got a window to look outside and I can see the green tree, or the pot plant on the edge of my desk, as long as it's a healthy non-wilting plant. So visual connection with nature is a simple way to do it. Something called non-rhythmic sensory stimuli. And this is when nature moves slightly in your space. So it could be the pot plant on your desk is moving slightly with the air conditioner, or outside your view, the trees are waving in the wind a bit. It could also be a fishbowl on the edge of your reception desk, and the movement of the water and the fish and the plants that you've provided for the fish. So it's that sort of slight movement creates a sense of relaxation. Airflow. It's amazing how many people live in their offices or home offices or wherever they are, and they never open the window. So access to fresh air is a form of biophilic design. Presence of water. So if you're able to see that or hear it, it could be a water feature on outside your office window. It could be a fountain in your foyer. It could even be you've downloaded the sound of rainfall or waterfalls off some website, and you can hear it in the background. Presence of water, goldfish bowl, foyer, lake, sea view. Some of us should be so lucky. So considerations around light. You know, it's really, really important to have access to natural light. It helps with our circadian rhythms as a human being, which helps with our metabolism, which helps with our sleep patterns, which helps with our psychological well-being. So just being able to see outdoors and have access to some form of light. And then lastly is a connection to a natural system. So being able to see nature in its process. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, there's a tree outside your office window, be it your home office or your showroom or your big corporate office, and being able to see nature's processes happening. So, for example, the very bright green leaves of spring, and then the deep green of summer, and then as they start to change over to the more sort of reds and oranges and browns of winter. All of those things affect the way that we perceive our surroundings. And it's as simple as that, incorporating biophilic design into your space. So it doesn't have to be a massive investment. It can be as simple as taking into considerations nature and how you see it and how you experience it where you are.
Okay, thank you. You know, and then being a bit biased, I also wanted to find out, you know, we have natural wood, looks, we have stone looks, we have marble looks, all imitating and almost mirroring natural elements of nature. If you pull these imitations, if I can say, into your space, is that considered under the biophilic as well, that you're bringing looks into, or look-alike, should I say, into your space?
Absolutely. So first prize is anything natural. So for example, a tree or a lake or any of those sorts of things. Second prize is something called natural analogues or analogues of nature. So biophilic design, I mentioned earlier on in our call that there's three categories of biophilic design: nature of the space, nature in the space, and natural analogues. And within those three categories is those 14 patterns I was talking about. So the category natural analogues that is where finishes and surfaces in the spaces, so tiles, walls, floor finishes, granite tops, marble, all of those sorts of things, those look like organic types of surfaces. They're non-living, but they're implying elements of nature. And this is a very, very close second prize to nature in this space. So having the actual pure wood or a fossilized tree stumps or natural stone type of tiles. So natural analogues, with those sorts of patterns, and technology has improved so much over the last couple of years that our imitation faux wood look tiles or our more natural stone looking mosaics, those create an indirect connection to nature. And what that does is it actually creates a cue to the human brain that sparks the same sense of well-being as it would be if we were outdoors seeing those actual wood, stone, gemstone type surfaces. So it's almost like an art. So using the gentle, sort of ordered or complex art of nature in design elements, such as our textile patterns, artwork, furniture, and surfaces, such as you guys with your tile surfaces. And I know guys have got some really nice ranges at the moment, like your Accents range, which is that sort of wood look for indoor and outdoor, or even your more sort of cotto type tiles. Those are perfect for creating that biophilic human link to nature and inspires that rich or subtle or even subtle and subconscious link to nature and our sense of well-being.
So tying into that, Mal, I just wanted to find out, so we are very eco-conscious. We have our, our brand, Live Green, our trademark that we push solidly within majority, if not all of our products, from manufacturing, through to the distribution, the packaging, everything is considered, and we're quite eco-focused. Where would our eco-focus and eco-products fall under this whole design?
So I would say sustainability, going green, biophilic design, eco-friendly, organic, all of those are almost like pockets of the same thing under an overarching umbrella of doing better as human beings or recreating our connection to nature as human beings for the betterment of ourselves, the way our bodies function and the way our brains function. And they're all really intertwined with each other. You can't really separate them all out from each other. So sustainability is inherently linked into or intertwined into biophilic design. Going green is sort of a thinking system that links sustainability and biophilic design together.
Thanks. And I also just wanted to find out, many years ago when we done one of our first sessions with you, and I'm probably thinking 2017, I'm throwing a number out there, but I think that's about right. We spoke about the humans wanting natural products. We had done so much screen time. We had, we on our laptops, on our iPads, on our cell phones. So we were looking for products. And I think we were talking about textures where we would want the wool or the carpet or, anything that just brings us to nature. That feely, that touchy-feely, bringing you back. Does that also fall within this? And is that why it's such a big trend at the moment that people are moving away from screen time again back into the natural world?
So screen time and technology is almost a lead off from urbanization. So we've had this massive growth from the industrial era, where we've gone to this huge level of industrialization and lost our connection with nature. And our cities have been built around commercialism and production and all of those sorts of things. What cities are starting to do is they're starting to shift away from that now and becoming more aware of biophilic design on that sort of level in cities where you need pause spaces or green spaces, or children who go to school need access to some form of green so that they can influence their ability to absorb schoolwork, for example. That's that cognitive category. And technology is almost a step up from that level of urbanization. So in the last couple of years, not even the last couple of years, the last however many years, decades, we've become so much more technology focused. And the thing is, everything we touch these days is smooth. So if you think about any form of smartphone, it's all sort of smooth and glassy. If you think about a tablet or an iPad, it's smooth and glassy. If you think about our keyboards, they're smooth. So one of the things people go back and buy now, and they refer to it as retro, is people go back and they buy keyboards that actually have the actual pressure, the points in it.
Old school.
That is us going back and looking for some form of, it's called haptic, so some form of touch engagement with the things that we touch every day. And with technology being so slick and so sharp and so smooth, is the reverse is starting to happen, is we're trying to counter that. We're going towards things that have texture, stone, wood, gemstones, anything that looks like nature, that has either a visual or a tactile level of texture to it, something either our eyes can see or we can touch. And it's as a remedy to this massive amount of smooth texture we have in our lives at the moment. And that's why things like your wood look tiles, I mean, wood look tiles globally are a bestseller. But like you guys, I know your wood look tiles are massive, like your colored art and your accents that we spoke about earlier. People are looking for the connection to nature, but they're also looking for their eyes and their hands to see and touch stuff.
Okay, which makes absolute sense, especially the world that we're living in. And even the kids that are doing online schooling now, it's I think it's going to had a huge impact on families of kids and the adults.
Yeah.
That's the only last question I have is I just wanted to find out if you offer biophilic design in your courses. Is that something you guys do?
So we have a fantastic course called Biophilic Design for beginners, and it takes you everywhere from understanding what biophilic design is to those categories and those patterns that I spoke about, and then looking at each category and how those can be implemented in a really, really simple, easy way in our home offices, our SMEs, our large commercials. And I would really, in light of where the world is at the moment, all of us needing a little bit of a reconnection with nature, encourage people to do it and incorporate some of the thinking into their own spaces.
Which I think is magical. I mean, we've seen it with our sales staff, and we've done a couple of sessions with you. It's most valuable. And, sometimes customers don't know what they're looking for because they don't know that nature is what, they're almost looking for. So having that education behind us has really, really helped us and our consumers. So,
are overwhelmed. Like, I need to go sustainable and I don't know how to do that. Doesn't need to be so overwhelming. It can actually just be biophilic design at a very simple level and grow from there.
And can people get hold of you via your websites or?
So either get hold of us on www.chaptersinteriors.com, and there's a link through to our training from there. Or alternatively, drop me an email on info at chaptersinteriors.com, and I will point you in the right direction for reconnecting with nature.
Perfect. Mel, again, thank you so much for the time spent today, the education behind it. And I know that our next one will probably be just as exciting. But on your side, keep safe and keep well.
You too. Thank you so much, Nicole.